Remember is not my mother's voice, but the grinding hum of air recyclers deep in the walls. A sound so constant you stop hearing it until it stops, and when it stops, you realize you have been breathing inside something alive. My name is Jorek Malin, and I have never seen a planet. I have never felt rain. I have never stood beneath a sky that was not steel. Sanctum Ferrix is not a home. It is a structure, vast and indifferent. A manufactured moon that orbits a world I will never touch. My life is measured in shifts, in ration credits, in the distance between one bulkhead and another. I am a maintenance serf, which means I exist to ensure that the station continues, that its hearts keep beating, that its veins do not clog. I do not matter. The station matters. And yet, when the station begins to fail, it does not save me. It forgets me. The air tastes like metal here, always. Not the sharp tang of blood, but something older, something processed and recycled so many times it has lost whatever it once was. You learn to ignore it. You learn to ignore many things. The cold that seeps through your clothes, no matter how many layers you wear. The way the lights flicker in Habring Theta, the ring where I was born, where I will likely die. The smell of too many bodies packed into corridors designed for half as many. The taste of nutrient paste that comes in 6 colors, but only one flavor. The sound of prayer echoing from the chapel at all hours, voices rising in devotion to the Emperor, the Omnissiah, the Machine God, whoever will listen. I do not pray often. I am too tired. Prayer is for those who still believe they matter. Sanctum Ferrix is one of dozens of orbital stations circling the forge world of Voltar Tertius. From the observation blisters, you can see the planet below, a world of fire and smoke, its surface covered in manufactorums that churn out weapons, armor, ships, the tools of an empire that spans the galaxy. I have been to the observation blisters only twice in my life. The first time, I was 8 years old, brought there by my mother as a gift. A rare moment of beauty in a life that offered none. I remember pressing my face to the glass, seeing the planet turn slowly beneath us, seeing the glow of forges like embers in the dark. I remember thinking it looked warm. My mother told me we would never go there, that our purpose was here, in the cold, in the machine. She died 3 years later when a coolant line ruptured in Section 12. I was not allowed to see her body. They needed the space. The second time I went to the observation blister was 6 months ago. I went alone, on a rest cycle, walking through corridors I barely recognized. I wanted to see if it still looked warm. It did not. The planet had become a scar, its surface darker, its forges dimmer. Or perhaps I had changed. Perhaps the warmth was never in the planet, but in the child who had looked upon it. I did not stay long. The blister was colder than I remembered. I work in Habring Theta, one of the lesser rings, far from the command spires and the transit hubs where officers and tech priests move with purpose. Theta is home to 20,000 serfs, laborers, cleaners, recyclers, the men and women who keep the machine alive while the machine forgets they exist. The ring is a torus, a curved tube of steel and plasteel 3 kilometers in circumference, connected to the station's central core by a single umbilical shaft. Gravity here is maintained by rotation, a slow spin that pins us to the outer wall. When you stand still, you do not feel it. When you run, you feel the pull, the centrifugal force that substitutes for the gravity I have never known. The walls are covered in pipes, in conduits, in panels that hide machinery I do not understand. Every surface is labeled with Gothic script, warnings and blessings, and serial numbers worn smooth by time. The air smells of oil and sweat and incense. The lights are dim, yellow, flickering. The noise is endless. My quarters are a bunk in a shared hab unit, a room 4 meters wide and 6 meters long, divided by curtains into sleeping nooks for 12 people. I share mine with a woman named Searle, an older serf who works in waste reclamation. She does not speak much. None of us do. Words are currency here, spent carefully, hoarded for moments that matter. I have lived in this room for 11 years, since I turned 14 and was assigned my first permanent shift. Before that, I lived with my mother in a smaller unit, a single nook where we slept in shifts, one waking while the other rested. I do not remember her face clearly anymore. I remember her hands, rough and scarred, always moving, always fixing something. The alarm comes on the 16th hour of my shift. Not the loud, piercing wail that signals a breach or a fire, but a low, droning hum that cycles every 10 seconds. It is the sound of a minor systems alert, the kind that happens once or twice a week, usually resolved before anyone notices. I am in subcorridor 19, replacing a panel that has been sparking for days, my tools spread on the floor, my hands black with grease. The alarm echoes through the walls, and I pause, listening. Others pause too. We look at each other, waiting for it to stop. It does not stop. After 30 seconds, someone mutters a prayer. After a minute, someone curses. After 2 minutes, I close my toolbox and stand. The alarm continues. Subcorridor 19 is one of dozens of narrow passages that run along the inner curve of Habring Theta, connecting the main habitation areas to the maintenance shafts and access tunnels. It is not a place people live. It is a place people pass through, quickly, heads down, carrying tools or crates, or nothing at all. The walls here are bare metal, unpolished, marked with scratches and dents from decades of use. The ceiling is low, forcing you to stoop if you are tall. I am not tall. I am average in every way. Neither strong nor weak, neither clever nor dull. I am unremarkable. This has kept me alive. The alarm changes pitch. It is subtle, a shift from one tone to another, but we all hear it. The lights flicker. Someone gasps. I feel it then. A pressure change, a tightness in my ears that tells me the air is thinning. Not quickly, not yet, but enough to notice. I press my hand against the wall, feeling the vibration of machinery deep inside. The station is alive, always, but now it feels different. Now it feels wrong. I look down the corridor, toward the junction that leads back to the main hab blocks. The others are already moving, gathering their tools, their belongings, walking quickly but not running. Running suggests panic. Panic is contagious. I follow them, my toolbox heavy in my hand, my breath shallow. The junction is crowded when I reach it, 50, maybe 60 serfs, all moving in the same direction, toward the main transit corridor that rings the hab block. Voices rise, low and urgent, asking questions no one can answer. What happened? Is it a breach? Did someone seal the bulkheads? The alarm is louder here, echoing off the walls, drilling into my skull. I push forward, trying to reach the transit corridor, but the crowd slows. Someone ahead shouts. I cannot hear what they say. The pressure in my ears grows worse. I swallow, trying to equalize, but it does not help. The air is definitely thinner now. I can feel it in my lungs, a tightness, a need to breathe deeper. Around me, others are feeling it too. Coughing, gasping, pushing harder. The bulkhead is closed. I see it when I finally squeeze through the crowd, a massive steel door 2 meters thick, sealed shut, its edges glowing faintly with the red light of an active lock. The transit corridor is on the other side, the artery that connects Theta to the rest of the station. Without it, we are isolated, cut off. I stare at the bulkhead, my mind racing, trying to understand. This is protocol. When there is a breach, the bulkheads seal automatically, containing the damage, preventing the loss of the entire ring. But there is no breach. The alarm is wrong. The system has failed. Someone made a mistake. The crowd presses against the bulkhead, hands pounding on the steel, voices shouting, demanding to be let through. I stay back, watching. Panic is spreading now, no longer contained. A woman near the front collapses, clutching her chest, and others pull her back, lowering her to the floor. She is not the first. I see 2 more on the ground, unconscious or worse. The air is thin enough now that the weak, the sick, the old are succumbing. I force myself to breathe slowly, conserving oxygen, trying to stay calm. My toolbox feels heavier. I set it down. My legs feel weak. I lean against the wall, sliding down until I am sitting, my back against the cold metal. The noise around me is deafening, a roar of voices and alarms and the hum of machinery struggling to compensate. I close my eyes. I think of my mother. I think of the observation blister, of the planet turning below, of the warmth I thought I saw. I think of the child I was, pressing his face to the glass, believing the galaxy was beautiful. I was wrong. The galaxy does not care. The station does not care. The Emperor, the Omnissiah, the Machine God, they do not care. We are numbers. We are functions. We exist to serve, and when we cannot serve, we are discarded. The bulkhead will not open. Command will not come. We are already forgotten. But I do not die. Not yet. Hours pass, or perhaps only minutes. Time loses meaning when you are suffocating. The crowd thins as people collapse, as others drag them away to the sides of the corridor, laying them out like offerings. I remain sitting, breathing slowly, counting each inhale, each exhale. My chest aches, my head pounds. The alarm has changed again, now a steady, low tone that feels less like a warning and more like a dirge. The lights dim further, conserving power. In the shadows, I see movement, figures shuffling, voices whispering. Some are praying, some are crying, some are silent, staring at nothing. I wonder how long we have. Hours? Days? The air in Habring Theta is finite, and with the bulkhead sealed, it is not being replenished. We are breathing the same stale mix over and over, each cycle stripping more oxygen, adding more carbon dioxide. Eventually, it will become unbreathable. Eventually, we will sleep and not wake. A voice rises above the others, loud and commanding. I open my eyes, turning toward the sound. A man is standing on a crate near the bulkhead, arms raised, his face gaunt and fervent. He is older, grey-haired, wearing the tattered robes of a lay preacher. His voice echoes through the corridor, calling for calm, for faith, for unity. He speaks of the Emperor's mercy, of trials sent to test the faithful, of deliverance that will come to those who endure. Some listen, some ignore him. I listen, not because I believe, but because his voice is something other than the alarm, something human. He speaks for 10 minutes, maybe more. His words a stream of scripture and platitudes, familiar and comforting in their predictability. Then he stops. He lowers his arms. He looks at the bulkhead, and for a moment, I see doubt flicker across his face. Then he steps down from the crate and disappears into the crowd. I stand. My legs tremble, but they hold. I need to move. Sitting here, waiting to die, is unbearable. I pick up my toolbox and begin walking, not toward the bulkhead but away from it, back into the sub-corridors, into the depths of the ring. Others have had the same idea. I pass small groups huddled in alcoves, in maintenance shafts, anywhere that feels safer than the main corridor. I pass bodies, some moving, some not. I do not stop to check. I keep walking, following the curve of the ring, my breath shallow, my mind focused on a single thought. There must be another way. Habring Theta is not a simple structure. It is a labyrinth, a maze of corridors and shafts and access tunnels built over centuries, modified and expanded and patched so many times that no single schematic captures its full layout. I have worked here for years, and I know only a fraction of it, but I know the logic of machines. I know that redundancy is built into every system, that there are always backups, alternate routes, emergency overrides. The umbilical shaft that connects Theta to the central core is sealed, yes, but there are other connections, older connections, maintenance tunnels used by tech priests and servitors, passages that bypass the main bulkheads. I have seen them on schematics, marked with warnings, restricted access, but I have never entered one. Now, I have no choice. I find the first access hatch in sub-corridor 23, hidden behind a panel marked with a faded skull and the words, "Authorized personnel only." The panel is rusted shut, the screws stripped, but I have tools. I pry it open, the metal screeching, and behind it is a hatch, round and heavy, sealed with a wheel lock. I grip the wheel and turn. It does not move. I brace my feet and try again, putting my weight into it, my hands slipping on the cold metal. The wheel shifts, just slightly, and I feel a surge of hope. I turn harder, grunting, and the wheel begins to rotate. Slowly, reluctantly, until finally it disengages and the hatch swings open. Cold air rushes out, colder than the corridor, and I smell something sharp, chemical, mixed with the stale scent of disuse. I peer into the darkness beyond, seeing nothing, hearing only the faint drip of water and the distant hum of machinery. I take a breath, as deep as I can manage, and step inside. The tunnel is narrow, barely wide enough for my shoulders, and the floor is slick with condensation. I move carefully, one hand on the wall, the other holding my toolbox. The light from the corridor fades quickly, and I am plunged into darkness, complete and absolute. I stop, reaching into my toolbox, pulling out a small lumen torch. I flick it on, and the beam cuts through the black, illuminating rusted pipes, hanging cables, walls coated in grime. The tunnel slopes downward, curving to follow the inner surface of the ring. I follow it, step by step, the beam of my torch dancing ahead of me. The air here is colder, thinner even than the corridor, and I wonder if I have made a mistake. But there is no turning back. The hatch behind me is sealed again, the wheel locked from the inside. I can only go forward. I walk for what feels like an hour, though it is impossible to tell. The tunnel twists and turns, branching into side passages I do not take, descending deeper into the structure of the ring. I pass machinery I do not recognize, panels covered in Gothic script, altars to the Omnissiah, adorned with gears and candles long since burned out. The tunnel is not empty. I see footprints in the grime, old and faint, evidence that others have been here before me. I see markings on the walls, symbols I do not understand, scratched into the metal with tools or fingernails. I see a servitor, motionless, its limbs frozen mid-gesture, its face a mask of flesh and metal. It does not move as I pass. I do not stop to examine it. The tunnel ends at another hatch, identical to the first. I turn the wheel, and this time it opens easily, the mechanism well-oiled, recently used. I step through into a chamber, small and circular, lit by a single flickering lumen strip. The chamber is empty, except for a console mounted on the far wall, its screen glowing faintly, displaying lines of data I cannot read. I approach it, setting down my toolbox, and study the console. It is old, its casing cracked, its keys worn smooth. I press one at random, the screen flickers, and a new set of data appears, rows of numbers and symbols scrolling past too quickly to follow. I press another key. The screen goes dark. I press it again. Nothing. I curse, softly, and step back, looking around the chamber. There is another hatch on the opposite wall, smaller, marked with a red stripe. I cross to it and pull it open. Beyond is a ladder, leading up into darkness. I climb. The ladder is long, longer than I expected, and my arms burn by the time I reach the top. I emerge into another corridor, this one wider, better lit, the walls painted with faded murals of gears and eagles and saints. I recognize this place. It is one of the transit corridors, not the main one, but a secondary route used for cargo and maintenance crews. I am no longer in Hab Ring Theta. I have bypassed the bulkhead. I have escaped. But I am not safe. The corridor is empty, eerily so, and the air here is thick with the smell of smoke. I see scorch marks on the walls, dark streaks that suggest fire or las weapons. I see debris, scattered crates, a pool of something dark and wet on the floor. I move cautiously, my torch off now, my ears straining for any sound. The alarm is different here, higher pitched, more urgent, and I realize that whatever happened in Theta, it is not isolated. The station is failing. The machine is breaking. I hear voices ahead, muffled and indistinct. I press against the wall, moving slowly, and peer around the corner. A group of serfs, maybe 20, are gathered in the corridor, their faces pale, their clothes torn. They are arguing, voices rising, gesturing toward a closed door marked with the symbol of the Adeptus Mechanicus. One of them, a young man with a bleeding head, is pounding on the door, shouting for help. No one answers. The door does not open. I watch as the argument escalates, as one man shoves another, as a woman screams and tries to pull them apart. Then, suddenly, the lights go out. The corridor is plunged into darkness. I hear screams, the sound of running feet, the crash of something heavy hitting the floor. Then silence. When the lights return, the corridor is empty. The serfs are gone. The door is still closed. The only evidence they were here is the blood on the floor and the faint smell of fear. I do not move. I do not breathe. I wait, listening, but there is nothing. No voices, no footsteps, only the hum of the station and the wail of the alarm. I step back, retreating the way I came, and I feel it again, the pressure in my ears, the tightness in my chest. The air is thinning here too. The station is not just failing, it is dying. I turn and run. I do not know where I am going, only that I must move, must find air, must find a way out. The corridors blur around me, twisting and turning, leading me deeper into the station. I pass sealed hatches, broken consoles, walls covered in graffiti and prayers. I pass more bodies, some alone, some in groups, all still. I do not stop. I cannot stop. My legs ache, my lungs burn, and my vision swims with dark spots. I stumble, catching myself on the wall, gasping, and I realize I am crying, not from fear, but from exhaustion, from the futility of it all. I am one man, alone, in a machine that does not care. I am nothing. But I keep running. I round a corner and nearly collide with a figure standing in the middle of the corridor. I skid to a halt, my heart pounding, and raise my torch. The figure is a servitor, tall and hunched, its body a patchwork of flesh and metal, its eyes glowing faintly red. It does not move. It does not react. I step to the side, trying to go around it, but it shifts, blocking my path. I step the other way. It shifts again. I raise my hands, showing I am unarmed, and it tilts its head, regarding me with those dead, glowing eyes. Then it speaks, its voice a harsh, mechanical rasp. Unauthorized personnel, return to assigned station. I open my mouth to respond, but no words come. The servitor takes a step toward me, its movements jerky, unnatural. I back away, and it follows, its pace slow but relentless. I turn and run, and I hear it behind me, its footsteps heavy, echoing. I duck into a side passage, a narrow maintenance shaft, and the servitor does not follow. I press my back against the wall, breathing hard, listening. The footsteps fade. I am alone again. The shaft leads to a storage bay, a vast, open space filled with crates and machinery covered in tarps. The air here is better, cleaner, and I gulp it down, feeling the tightness in my chest ease slightly. I move through the bay, weaving between the crates, searching for an exit. I find one on the far side, a door marked with the symbol of the Departamento Munitorum. I try the handle. It is locked. I set down my toolbox and pull out my tools, examining the lock. It is old, mechanical, the kind I have worked on 100 times. I insert a pick, feeling for the tumblers, and begin to work. It takes 5 minutes, maybe 10, but eventually the lock clicks and the door swings open. Beyond is another corridor, this one sloping upward, and I feel a faint breeze, cool and fresh. I follow it, moving quickly, and the breeze grows stronger, carrying with it the scent of ozone and oil. I am heading toward the core. The core of Sanctum Ferrix is a cylinder 5 kilometers tall and 2 kilometers wide, the spine around which the hab rings and docking spurs rotate. It houses the command decks, the tech shrines, the lifts and transit tubes that connect the station's myriad sections. It is a place I have never been, a place reserved for officers and priests, for those whose names are recorded, whose lives have meaning. I am a serf, I do not belong here, but I have no choice. If there is air, if there is safety, it is here, in the core. The corridor ends at a lift shaft, its doors open, its interior dark. I step inside, shining my torch upward, and see the cables stretching into the blackness above. The lift itself is gone, called to another level, and I consider climbing the cables, but I know I do not have the strength. I step back, looking around, and spot a ladder bolted to the wall of the shaft, running parallel to the cables. I grip the rungs and begin to climb, one hand over the other, my legs trembling with each step. The shaft is cold, the air thin, and I can hear the wind rushing past me, the sound of the station's rotation. I climb for what feels like forever, my muscles screaming, my vision narrowing, until finally I reach another door, this one marked with the numeral 7 and the symbol of the administratum. I pry it open and stumble through, collapsing onto the floor beyond. I lie there, gasping, staring at the ceiling. The air here is breathable, almost normal, and I feel life flooding back into my limbs. I close my eyes, just for a moment, and when I open them again, I realize I am not alone. A figure is standing over me, looking down, their face obscured by a rebreather mask. I try to speak, but my throat is too dry. The figure kneels, pressing a canteen to my lips, and I drink, the water cold and metallic, but the best thing I have ever tasted. I drink until the canteen is empty, and the figure pulls it away, standing again. They gesture for me to follow, and I do, rising unsteadily to my feet. The figure leads me through a series of corridors, cleaner and better lit than any I have seen before. We pass tech priests, servitors, uniformed officers, all moving with purpose, none sparing me a glance. I feel out of place, a creature of grime and sweat in a world of order and precision. We stop at a door marked with the seal of the Mechanicus, and the figure pushes it open, ushering me inside. The room beyond is small, sparse, containing only a desk, a chair, and a pict screen mounted on the wall. The figure removes their rebreather, revealing a woman, young, with pale skin and dark eyes. She does not smile. She gestures to the chair, and I sit. "You are Jorek Malin," she says. It is not a question. I nod, too exhausted to speak. She studies me for a moment, her expression unreadable. "You were assigned to Habring Theta, Maintenance Division, serial number 793 Epsilon 12. I nod again. "Habring Theta is under quarantine," she continues. "There was a containment breach. Atmospheric contamination. The bulkheads were sealed to prevent spread. You should not be here." I find my voice, hoarse and weak. There was no breach. The alarm was wrong. She does not react. The decision has been made by command. The ring will be purged once the contamination is neutralized. All personnel inside are considered lost. I stare at her, my mind struggling to process her words. 20,000 people, lost, erased. I think of the serfs in the corridor, pounding on the bulkhead, gasping for air. I think of the woman who collapsed, of the preacher calling for faith. They are not lost. They are dying. They are being killed. And I escaped. "Why am I here?" I ask. She tilts her head, as if considering the question. "You are here because you bypassed a sealed bulkhead. You are here because you should not exist." She pauses. "You will be reassigned. Your records will be updated. Your serial number will be retired. You will be given new quarters, a new designation, a new function. Do you understand?" I do not understand. I do not understand any of this. But I nod, because what else can I do? She turns to the pict screen, typing on a console. The screen flickers to life, displaying a schematic of the station, Habring Theta highlighted in red. As I watch, the red deepens, spreading like blood, until the entire ring is dark. Then it blinks out, replaced by the word purged. She turns back to me. "You were never in Habring Theta," she says. "You were reassigned 3 weeks ago. Your records confirm this. Do you understand?" I nod. "I understand. I am a ghost. I am a number that has been erased and rewritten. I survived, but at the cost of everything I was. The station does not care. The Emperor does not care. I am nothing. She gestures to the door. Report to Habring Delta. Your new assignment begins immediately. I stand, my legs weak, and walk to the door. I pause, looking back at her, and I see something in her eyes, a flicker of something that might be pity, or perhaps it is nothing. Perhaps I am imagining it. I step through the door, and it closes behind me, sealing me away from the woman, from the room, from the truth. I walk through the corridors of the core, following the signs to Habring Delta. Around me, the station continues, indifferent, eternal. Serfs pass, officers pass, servitors pass. No one looks at me. No one sees me. I am a function, a tool, a component in a machine too vast to comprehend. I think of Habring Theta, of the people dying there, of the bulkhead that will never open. I think of my mother, of the observation blister, of the child who believed the galaxy was warm. I was wrong. The galaxy is cold. The station is cold. And I am alive. But I am not whole. I reach Habring Delta by following a transit tube, a narrow passage lined with seats and handholds, moving on a track that circles the core. The tube is crowded, packed with serfs returning from their shifts, their faces blank, their eyes empty. I find a seat near the back and sit, clutching my toolbox, staring at the floor. The tube hums, vibrating gently, and I feel the pull of rotation as we accelerate. I close my eyes, trying to rest, but sleep does not come. My mind is too full, too loud. I see the bulkhead. I see the bodies. I see the woman's eyes, cold and empty, telling me I was never there. I was never anywhere. Habring Delta is larger than Theta, brighter, more crowded. It houses 30,000 serfs, workers assigned to the station's docking spurs, loading and unloading cargo from the ships that come and go like clockwork. The ring smells different here, less of oil and sweat, and more of fuel and chemicals, the acrid scent of promethium and coolant. The walls are cleaner, the lights brighter, but the faces are the same. Blank, tired, forgotten. I am given a bunk in a Hab unit, identical to the one I left behind, a room shared with 12 others, divided by curtains. I am given a new shift assignment, loading cargo in docking spur 9. I am given a new serial number, 914 Gamma 6. I am told to report for duty in 6 hours. I am not asked if I have questions. I am not asked if I understand. I am simply told, and I obey. The first weeks in Delta blur together, an endless cycle of loading crates, moving pallets, checking manifests. The work is hard, harder than maintenance, and my body aches in new ways. My hands blister, my back screams, my legs tremble by the end of each shift, but I do not complain. I do not speak. I keep my head down, my eyes forward, and I work. Around me, others do the same. We are a machine within a machine, components performing our functions, replaceable, expendable. No one asks where I came from. No one cares. I am just another serf. But I remember. At night, when the lights dim and the Hab unit falls silent, I lie in my bunk, and I remember. I remember the alarm in Theta, the thinning air, the closed bulkhead. I remember the serfs pounding on the steel, their voices rising in panic. I remember the woman on the console telling me I was never there. I remember the pick screen, the word purged. I remember. And the memories are like knives, cutting into me, over and over. I cannot forget. I cannot escape. Even here, in Delta, surrounded by new faces, new tasks, I am still in Theta. I am still dying. I see a counselor once, in the 2nd month. Not by choice, but because a supervisor notices me spacing out during a shift, staring at nothing, my hands idle. He reports me to the medical division, and I am summoned to a small office in the core, a room barely larger than a closet, containing a desk and 2 chairs. The counselor is a man, middle-aged, with tired eyes and a soft voice. He asks me how I am feeling. I tell him I am fine. He asks me if I am having trouble adjusting to my new assignment. I tell him no. He asks me if I have nightmares. I tell him no. He does not believe me, but he does not press. He makes a note in a data slate and tells me to return to work. I do. I never see him again. In the 4th month, I meet a woman named Kessa. She works in the same docking spur, handling manifests, checking shipments against records. She is older than me, maybe 40, with graying hair and a scar across her left cheek. She does not speak often, but when she does, her voice is steady, calm. We work side by side for weeks before she says anything beyond pleasantries. Then, one day, during a rest break, she sits next to me and asks where I came from. I tell her Delta. She looks at me, her eyes sharp, and I realize she does not believe me. She does not say anything more. She simply nods and returns to work. Over time, Kessa becomes something like a friend. Not in the traditional sense, because friendship requires trust, and trust requires vulnerability, and vulnerability is a luxury we cannot afford. But she is someone I can talk to, someone who listens without judgment. I tell her small things, safe things, where I grew up, what I used to do, the taste of the air in theta. She listens, and sometimes she shares her own stories. She tells me about her son, who died in a construction accident 10 years ago. She tells me about the station she came from, a smaller one, destroyed by a warp storm. She tells me about the things she has seen, the horrors she has survived, and I realize that everyone here has a story. Everyone here is carrying something they cannot put down. But I do not tell her about theta. I do not tell her about the bulkhead, the purge, the woman in the mechanicus room. I cannot. The words will not come, and even if they did, what would I say? That I survived? That I escaped while 20,000 others died? That I am alive because I was erased? There is no comfort in that truth. There is no redemption. One night, lying in my bunk, I hear a sound I have not heard in months. Laughter. It comes from the next nook over, muffled by the curtain, 2 serfs sharing a joke, their voices light and easy. I lie still, listening, and I feel something twist inside me, something painful and sharp. I cannot remember the last time I laughed. I cannot remember the last time I felt light. I am hollow. I am empty. I am a shell walking through the motions of life, pretending to be alive. In the 6th month, the station holds a memorial service for the serfs lost in Habring Theta. It is announced over the Vox casters, a somber reminder of sacrifice, of duty, of the Emperor's will. I attend, not because I want to, but because I must. The service is held in one of the chapels, a cavernous space with high ceilings and walls covered in murals of saints and martyrs. Thousands gather, serfs and officers and priests, their voices rising in prayer. I stand at the back, silent, listening. A tech priest speaks, his voice amplified by Vox grills, reciting names from a list too long to finish. I do not hear my name. I do not hear my mother's. I hear strangers, people I never knew, people who are now nothing but data points in a ledger. The service ends with a hymn, and I leave before it finishes, walking out into the cold corridors, my chest tight, my eyes dry. I do not cry. I cannot. The 7th month brings new orders. The docking spurs are being expanded, new berths constructed to accommodate larger vessels. The work is dangerous, requiring crews to operate outside the station, in the void, tethered by magnetic lines and faith. I volunteer, not because I want to, but because I need to feel something, anything, other than the hollow emptiness inside me. I am assigned to a crew of 10, led by a foreman named Gren, a grizzled veteran with a missing arm replaced by a crude augmetic. He does not ask why I volunteered. He simply hands me a void suit and tells me to suit up. The void is nothing like I imagined. It is not silent. It is not peaceful. It is loud with the hiss of your breath, the crackle of the vox, the groan of your suit as it struggles to keep you alive. It is cold, colder than anything I have ever felt. a cold that seeps through the layers of insulation and into your bones. And it is vast. Looking out from the edge of the docking spur, untethered from anything, you see the galaxy spread before you, stars and nebulae, and the distant glow of the Forge world below. You see the true scale of the station, a mote of dust in an infinite ocean. You see how small you are. How insignificant. We work for hours, welding struts, bolting panels, checking seals. The work is repetitive, exhausting, but it demands focus, and focus is a relief. I do not think about theta. I do not think about the bulkhead. I think only about the next weld, the next bolt, the next breath. Around me, the crew works in silence, their movements practiced, efficient. Gren watches from the edge, his voice crackling over the vox, offering guidance, corrections. Once, my tether snags on a piece of debris, and I feel a moment of panic, a pull that sends me drifting. Gren's voice cuts through the fear, calm and steady, telling me to breathe, to reach for the line, to pull myself back. I do, and the panic fades. I am not alone, not here. By the 8th month, I have become proficient in void work. I am assigned to more dangerous tasks, repairs to the station's outer hull, installations of sensor arrays, retrieval of debris from failed docking attempts. The work is grueling, but I prefer it to the cargo bay. Out here, in the void, I can see the stars. I can feel the cold. I can remind myself that I am alive. Even if I do not feel it, even if I am hollow, I am still here. I am still breathing. One day, during a routine repair, I see something that stops me cold. A ship, massive and ancient, drifting past the station, its hull scarred and pitted, its engines dark. It is a derelict, a ghost ship, pulled by the station's gravity into a slow orbit. I stare at it, transfixed, and I see movement in its windows, shadows flickering, shapes that might be human or might be something else. Gren's voice crackles in my ear, telling me to focus, to ignore it, but I cannot. I watch the ship until it disappears behind the curve of the station, swallowed by the void. That night, I dream of it. I dream of climbing aboard, of walking its empty corridors, of finding something, anything, that explains why it is here. But in the dream, I find only silence, only emptiness. The 9th month brings rumors, whispers of unrest in the lower rings, of serfs refusing to work, of protests crushed by Arbeits. I hear the stories in the mess hall, in the corridors, always second-hand, always vague. Some say it is about rations, that the quality has declined, that people are starving. Others say it is about assignments, that serfs are being worked to death, that the quotas are impossible. I do not know what to believe. I keep my head down. I do my work. I survive. But the rumors persist, and with them comes fear. Fear that the station is failing again, that the machine is breaking, that we are all living on borrowed time. I see it in the eyes of the other serfs, the way they glance at the bulkheads, the way they hoard rations, the way they pray more fervently. I see it in myself, the way I check my void suit twice, 3 times, before every shift, the way I avoid certain corridors, certain faces. Fear is a poison, spreading slowly, infecting everything. In the 10th month, I am summoned to the core again. I do not know why. I am told to report to the same room, the same door marked with the seal of the Mechanicus. I go, my heart pounding, my mind racing with possibilities. Have they found out? Do they know I remember? Will they purge me too? The door opens, and the same woman is there, her face as cold and unreadable as before. She gestures to the chair. I sit. Your performance has been satisfactory, she says. You have been selected for reassignment. Advanced maintenance, core systems. I stare at her, unable to speak. Core systems, the heart of the station, the place where failures are not tolerated, where mistakes mean death. It is a promotion, in a sense, but it feels like a sentence. Do you accept? She asks. I nod. What choice do I have? She makes a note in her data slate. Report to Section Alpha 7 in 3 days. You will receive further instruction there. She looks up, her eyes meeting mine. Do not fail. I stand, turning to leave, but she speaks again, stopping me. Jorik Malin. Your name is Jorik Malin. Do you understand? I turn back, confused. Yes. Remember it, she says. Because that is all you have left. I leave the room, the words echoing in my mind. Remember it, because that is all you have left. I walk through the corridors, my mind numb, and I realize she is right. My name is all I have. Everything else has been taken. My home, my memories, my identity. I am a ghost, walking through a machine that does not know I exist. But my name is mine, and I will not forget it. Section Alpha 7 is deep in the core, a labyrinth of corridors and chambers filled with machinery I do not understand. The air here is hot, thick with the smell of oil and ozone, and the noise is deafening, a constant roar of engines and turbines and coolant pumps. I am assigned to a team of 5, led by a tech adept named Velis, a man with half his face replaced by augmetics, his eyes glowing faintly blue. He does not speak much, communicating mostly through gestures and binary cant, a language I do not know. The other members of the team are serfs like me, but older, harder, their faces marked by years of service. They do not welcome me. They do not acknowledge me. I am simply there. The work in Alpha 7 is unlike anything I have done before. We do not repair broken machines. We maintain the core systems, the reactors, the gravity generators, the atmospheric processors. A single mistake here could kill thousands, could cripple the station, could doom us all. The pressure is immense, suffocating, and I feel it every moment of every shift. I am constantly checking my work, triple checking, paranoid that I will miss something, that I will be the one who fails. But I do not fail. I cannot afford to. The months blur again. 10 becomes 11. 11 becomes 12. I lose track of time, of days, of cycles. My life becomes a rhythm of work and sleep, sleep and work, with nothing in between. I eat when I am told. I rest when I am told. I exist when I am told. And slowly, gradually, I feel something inside me change. The hollow emptiness begins to fill, not with joy or hope, but with something else. Acceptance. I accept that this is my life. I accept that I will never leave this station. I accept that I am a tool, a function, a component in a machine, and in that acceptance, I find a strange kind of peace. But peace is fragile. In the 13th month, the alarms sound again. Not in Habring Theta, not in Delta, but here, in the core. The noise is deafening, a piercing wail that cuts through the roar of the machinery, and the lights turn red, bathing everything in blood. Velis barks orders in binary, and the team moves, scattering to their stations, their movements practiced, automatic. I follow, running to the coolant station, checking the gauges, the pressure, the flow. Everything is normal, everything is fine, but the alarm does not stop. Velis appears beside me, his augmetic eyes glowing brighter, scanning the readouts. He speaks, his voice a harsh rasp. Reactor 7, failure imminent, evacuate. I stare at him, my mind struggling to process the words. Reactor 7, one of the primary reactors, feeding power to half the station. If it fails, if it overloads, the explosion will tear through the core, will kill everyone here, will cripple the station beyond repair. I open my mouth to ask what we should do, but Velis is already gone, running toward the exit, the rest of the team following. I hesitate, looking back at the coolant station, and I see it then, a flicker on one of the gauges, a pressure spike, small but growing. I know what it means. I know what will happen if I leave it. I do not think. I act. I grab a wrench from my toolbox and begin adjusting the valve, venting pressure, manually compensating for the spike. The alarm grows louder, more insistent, and I feel the floor vibrate beneath my feet, the machine groaning, straining. My hands shake, my breath comes in gasps, but I do not stop. I cannot stop. I adjust the valve, checking the gauge, and the spike begins to drop. Slowly, gradually. I work faster, my movements frantic, and the spike continues to drop, stabilizing, holding. The alarm stops, the lights return to normal, the floor stops vibrating. I collapse against the coolant station, gasping, my body trembling. Velis returns, his eyes scanning the station. The gauges, me. He does not speak. He simply nods, once, and walks away. The rest of the team follows. I remain, sitting on the floor, staring at the wrench in my hand. I do not know why I stayed. I do not know why I acted. Survival, perhaps, or perhaps something else. Perhaps, for the first time in months, I felt like I mattered, like I had a choice, like I was more than a component. But the feeling does not last. In the days that follow, I am summoned to the core again. This time, I know what to expect. The same room, the same woman, the same cold eyes. I sit, and she studies me. Her expression, unreadable. Your actions in Reactor 7 were noted, she says. You prevented a catastrophic failure. You saved thousands of lives. I say nothing. You will be commended, she continues. Your record will reflect this. You will receive additional rations, improved quarters, an increase in your service rating. I nod. I do not feel pride. I do not feel relief. I feel nothing. She leans forward, her eyes boring into mine. But understand this, Jorik Malin, you are still a serf. You are still expendable. Your life has meaning only so long as you serve. Do you understand? I understand. She sits back, satisfied. Report to your new quarters. Dismissed. I leave, walking through the corridors, and I realize something. The station did not save me. I saved the station. And it does not care. It will never care. I am a tool, and tools do not matter. They are used until they break, and then they are replaced. I survived Habring Theta. I survived the Void. I survived Reactor 7. But I am not alive. Not truly. I am a function, executing commands, fulfilling purpose. I am Jorik Malin, and that is all I have left. The new quarters are in Habring Gamma, a smaller ring reserved for senior serfs and junior officers. The room is private, no curtains, no bunkmates, just a single bed, a desk, and a locker. It is the first time in my life I have had a space to myself, and I do not know what to do with it. I sit on the bed, staring at the walls, and I feel the emptiness return, deeper than before. I am alone, truly alone. And in the silence, I hear it again, the alarm from Theta, the voices pounding on the bulkhead, the word purged. I close my eyes, but it does not stop. It never stops. Weeks pass. I continue my work in Alpha 7, my performance flawless, my actions precise. I am a model serf, efficient, obedient, reliable. I receive additional commendations, additional rations, additional recognition, and I feel nothing. I am a machine within a machine, performing my function, existing without living. Kessa finds me once, in the mess hall, and she sits across from me, studying my face. She does not ask how I am. She already knows. She simply reaches across the table, placing her hand on mine, and she says nothing. We sit in silence, and for a moment, I feel something like comfort. Then she stands and leaves, and I am alone again. In the 14th month, I am given a new assignment, not in Alpha 7, but in the observation blister, performing routine maintenance on the external sensors. It is a simple task, one that should take a few hours, and I accept it without question. I suit up, stepping into the airlock, and I feel the familiar pull of the void as the outer door opens. I step out onto the hull, tethered by magnetic lines, and I walk toward the blister, my movements slow, careful. The stars stretch above me, infinite and cold, and I stop, looking out at the galaxy. I see the forge world below, its surface dark, its forges dim. I see the derelict ship, still drifting, still silent. I see the void, vast and empty, and I realize something. I am standing on the edge of everything, and I feel nothing. No fear, no wonder, no awe, just emptiness. I complete the maintenance, checking the sensors, replacing a faulty relay, and I turn to go. But I do not move. I stand at the edge of the blister, staring out, and I feel a pull, a temptation. It would be so easy. One step, one moment, and I would be free. No more alarms, no more work, no more memories. Just silence, just peace. I lift my foot, and I feel the magnetic lock disengage, and for a moment, I am weightless. Then I step back. I do not know why. Survival, perhaps. Or perhaps something else. Perhaps I am not ready. Perhaps I am still here, still breathing, still Jorik Malin. I turn and walk back to the airlock, and I do not look back. The months continue. 14 becomes 15. 15 becomes 16. I work. I sleep. I exist. I am a ghost, walking through a machine that does not know my name. But I remember the child in the observation blister, pressing his face to the glass, believing the galaxy was warm. I remember my mother, her hands rough and scarred, always fixing something. I remember the serfs in Theta, pounding on the bulkhead, their voices rising in panic. I remember the woman in the Mechanicus room, telling me I was never there. I remember the pict screen, the word purged. I remember, and the memories are all I have. One day, I am summoned to the core again, not to the Mechanicus room, but to a different office, larger, with windows overlooking the station's interior. A man is waiting, tall and uniformed, his face lined with age and authority. He gestures to a chair, and I sit. He does not introduce himself. He simply speaks. You are Jorik Malin, serial number 914 Gamma 6. You have served for 16 months with exemplary performance. You have been selected for a new assignment. Permanent reassignment. Habring Epsilon. Construction oversight. You will lead a team of 50 serfs. You will report directly to the station commander. Do you accept? I stare at him, unable to speak. A leader. A position of authority. It is unheard of for a serf, but I know why. The station needs bodies. The station needs workers. And I have proven I can be trusted. I have proven I can survive. I nod. I accept. The man makes a note in his data slate. Report to Epsilon in 2 days. He pauses, looking at me. You have done well, Jorik Malin. The Emperor protects. I stand, turning to leave, but I stop at the door. The Emperor does not protect, I say. The station protects. And the station does not care. The man does not respond. I leave, walking through the corridors, and I feel something stir inside me, something I thought was gone. Not hope, not joy, but defiance. I survived Habring Theta. I survived the void. I survived Reactor 7. I am Jorik Malin, and I am still here. I am still breathing, and as long as I breathe, I will remember. I will remember the serfs who died. I will remember the bulkhead that never opened. I will remember the machine that forgot them. And I will not let it forget me. I report to Habring Epsilon 2 days later. The ring is under construction, half finished, its walls bare metal, its corridors filled with the noise of welding and hammering. I meet my team, 50 serfs, their faces hard, their eyes wary. They do not trust me. I do not blame them. I am a stranger, an outsider, a serf given authority. But I do not need their trust. I need their work. And I will ensure they survive. I will ensure they are not forgotten. Because I remember. And I will not let the station erase them. The work is hard, harder than anything I have done before. We build HAB units, install life support, lay conduits and cables. The days are long, the shifts endless, and the team struggles. But I push them, not out of cruelty but out of necessity. The station does not wait, the machine does not rest. And if we fall behind, we will be replaced. I make sure they understand this. I make sure they know the cost of failure. And slowly, gradually, they begin to work together. They begin to trust me. Not because I am kind, but because I am honest. I do not lie to them. I do not promise them safety or comfort or a better future. I promise them only this: as long as they work, they will survive. And they do. Months pass. The construction progresses. Epsilon takes shape, becoming a functioning hab ring, ready to house 10,000 serfs. I am commended again, given additional authority, additional resources. I am no longer a serf. I am a foreman, a supervisor, a leader. And yet, I am still Jorek Malin. I am still the boy who pressed his face to the glass, believing the galaxy was warm. I am still the man who climbed the ladder, who survived the void, who refused to let go. I am still here. One day, Kessa finds me again. She has been transferred to Epsilon, assigned to my team, and she approaches me during a rest break, her face tired but her eyes sharp. She does not speak. She simply hands me something, a small object wrapped in cloth. I unwrap it, and I see a piece of metal, twisted and scorched, marked with the numeral theta. I stare at it, my chest tight, and I realize what it is. A piece of the ring, a piece of the place I was born, a piece of the grave I escaped. I look at Kessa, and she nods, once, and walks away. I hold the metal in my hand, feeling its weight, its coldness, and I understand. She knows. She has always known, and she has given me this, not as a gift, but as a reminder. A reminder that I am still here. A reminder that I survived. A reminder that I will not forget. That night, I place the metal on my desk, next to my toolbox, and I stare at it. I think of the serfs who died, of the bulkhead that never opened, of the word purged. I think of the station, vast and indifferent, a machine that does not care. And I make a decision. I will not be forgotten. I will not be erased. I will ensure that every serf under my command is recorded, is named, is remembered. I will ensure that if they die as people, not as numbers. It is a small defiance, a futile gesture in a galaxy that does not care, but it is mine, and it is enough. The years pass. Epsilon is completed, then expanded. I am promoted again, given command of multiple rings, multiple teams. I am no longer a serf. I am a station officer, a manager, a bureaucrat, and yet I am still Jorek Malin. I still carry the piece of theta on my desk. I still remember the child in the observation blister. I still remember the serfs who died, and I ensure that others remember too. I create records, manifests, lists of names and assignments and deaths. I ensure that every serf is accounted for, that every life is recorded. It is a small thing, a futile thing, but it is mine, and it is enough. One day, 20 years after I escaped theta, I am summoned to the core again. The same room, the same woman, though she is older now, her face lined, her eyes dim. She gestures to the chair, and I sit. She studies me, her expression unreadable, and then she speaks. You have served well, Jorek Malin. Your contributions have been invaluable. The station is stronger because of you. She pauses. You are being reassigned, not to another ring, but to the core. You will oversee all maintenance divisions. You will report directly to the station commander. Do you accept? I accept. She makes a note in her data slate. You have come far, Jorek Malin. Further than most serfs ever do. You should be proud. I am not proud. She looks at me, her eyes narrowing. Why? Because I remember, I say. I remember Habring Theta. I remember the bulkhead that never opened. I remember the word purged. I remember the serfs who died because the machine forgot them. And I will not let it happen again. She is silent for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Then she nods, once. Very well. Report to the core in 3 days. Dismissed. I stand, turning to leave, and I feel something I have not felt in years, not hope, but purpose. I am Jorek Malin. I am a serf who became a foreman, who became an officer. I am a man who survived when 20,000 others did not, and I will ensure that they are not forgotten. I will ensure that the station remembers, because I remember, and that is enough. I report to the Corps 3 days later, taking my place among the officers, the managers, the bureaucrats who run the machine. I am older now, my hair grey, my body worn, but I am still here. I am still breathing. And every day, I sit at my desk, surrounded by manifests and schematics and reports, and I ensure that every serf is recorded, every life is accounted for, every death is mourned. It is a small defiance, a futile gesture in a galaxy that does not care. But it is mine, and it is enough. And when I die, decades from now, my body will be processed, my ashes scattered into the void, and the station will continue, indifferent, eternal. But somewhere, in a forgotten databank, in a dusty archive, there will be a record. A name. Jorek Malin. Serial number 914 Gamma 6. Born in Habring Theta. Survived. Served. Remembered. And that is all I have left. That is all any of us have. A name, a record, a memory. In a machine that does not care, it is enough.